Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise, and we give you the non-biased information you can use to hopefully capitalize on the next bull run. And guys, I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing across the board when it comes to tokenized assets. And we're going to talk about the flow of money and what tokenized assets are going to look like and what's that roadmap look like across the board. Now, one thing I see right now in crypto when I do my research is a lot of influencers are using old narratives. They're not keeping up with the pace of the game, guys, at all. A year, 2 years ago, yeah, you could say that Swift's system, for instance, is old and it's slow and it's going to be overtaken. The legacy banks are using old 50-year-old technology, and these new fintech companies, these new startups, companies like Ripple are going to change the game. There's going to be a banking reset and everything's going to look different, and the power players of the world are going to be dethroned. Well, guys, that narrative is not only old, it has zero merit now. Yes, we could say that, say, a year and a half ago when we were actually comparing Swift's old technology to the new stuff. But I'm here to tell you guys, the future of the flow of money, of payments, of tokenized assets, unfortunately, whether you want to hear this or not, is going to be led, is being led, not going to be, is being led by Swift and the legacy banks. And the governments are behind them. Well, I'm going to prove that to you, and I highly recommend, guys, do your own research. I do this research for me, and I share with you guys because I want you to have valid information. And I promise you, everything I've ever said on this channel has merit. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm 100% and I don't get things wrong, because this is very, very complicated financial information, blockchain technology. I'm not a developer. However, I have a deep understanding, way more than I ever wanted to have. And right now with Claude AI, guys, my knowledge is going through the roof. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm ecstatic about being able to have, I feel like, a person to answer questions that I don't understand. Guys, with Claude AI, I can do a deep dive and I come up with whatever I come up with. And then I can throw that into Claude and say, hey, here's what I think, here's what I see, here's where I got it. Am I right? Am I wrong? And Claude can tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong. He can correct me. And the parts that I don't understand, he can break it down for me 10 times if necessary. And sometimes it is. But guys, I'm telling you, with AI and doing a deep dive that's non-biased, guys, I see the big picture and I see what's going on in crypto, and you can see the future because, guys, the legacy banks, for instance, and the governments, whether it's CDBCs or the metaverse or banking or stablecoins or whatever it is, guys, they are way into their blueprint. So we can see it. They are actually doing it. Now, that being said, what I want to talk about in this video is collateral tokens. Guys, I thought stablecoins were going to be the big product that moves the flow of money the most, and most people agree with that. Well, I thought that a week ago, but I was just doing a deep dive with a developer. I believe he works for Goldman Sachs, but he was talking about the partnership between Goldman Sachs and like the Bank of Mellon and JP Morgan and all those power players, and they were talking about tokenized assets, and he was talking about stable coins, and then he mentioned collateral tokens. I had never heard that. That kicked off this video. So guys, this is going to be a wealth of information, so bear with me, because no matter what, it's going to give you more information to make better decisions. And as luck would have it, I got 3 projects that should be on your radar, and I personally will be stacking all 3 of these projects, if nothing else, for a swing trade between now and the start of the bull run. So that's the good news. But guys, I want you to watch this video, hear me out, and I promise you it will be worth your time. Now let's talk about stablecoins. You know, in my opinion, the SEC has been weaponized, and you can follow that back to like JP Morgan and the legacy banks. I don't like any of that, but it is what it is, guys. Well, here's what when Jamie Dimon speaks, you got to listen. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense. For instance, Jamie Dimon said 3 or 4 times in the last year, he said, crypto tokens are a scam, but blockchain is the future. I didn't get that. Well, now I get it. Guys, the tokens are not going to be needed for the most part. Some are, but 98% of all the tokens out there, they're not going to be needed. There's going to be some public blockchains, but probably 90% of all the biggest flow of money, just like today, is going to go through the large institutions. Now, let's talk about stablecoins, because this is what this developer explained to me, and a light went off. And this is the difference, and I say this with love, of listening to an influencer that just really doesn't know much and has learned and has maybe made some money in crypto, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being negative to that person. But this guy is a developer for Goldman Sachs on Wall Street, guys. I'm going to listen to that person. Well, anyway, he was talking about how stablecoins are being regulated to be 1-to-1. So think about it. That doesn't work. Why does that model why does that model not work? Well, let's think about our money. If you put your money in the bank can borrow that out like 10x leverage, because that keeps the liquidity in the market, keeps society moving, right? Well, think about a stable coin. If someone buys $1 million worth of Bitcoin and they transfer that stable coin or the Bitcoin, well, the exchange, for instance, has to have 1-to-1. That money's off the market. There's going to be trillions of dollars locked up. So when you're transferring $1 billion, somebody has to have $1 billion of collateral. Well, that money's tied up. That model doesn't work. Well, what's a collateral token? Now think about this, guys, and I hate, and I know I'm right, I hate that this is the way it is. I hate it. But think about it. The government, the SEC primarily, they're going after stable coins constantly. This is what probably got Luna knocked off its peg. It was too strong, and they were going to back their stable coin by Bitcoin. I promise you, if you could go behind the scenes and see who was behind it, it's probably the legacy banks, the big power players, and our government, for whatever that's worth. But now think about it, guys. They are regulating hard on stable coins. If you have $1, you got to have another dollar, right? And that's fine. But what's not regulated? Collateral tokens. Now maybe they become regulated, but think about it. Who can create a collateral token with that kind of power and validity that you can honor your commitments? Well, the banks do it every day. What's the difference of you putting $1 million in the bank and they leverage it 10x? You trust Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Regions Bank. They get to leverage it and they're insured. Well, let's think about this. A collateral token. Who can really has that kind of assets that backs them up by assets as collateral? The JP Morgans, the Bank of Americas, those power players, guys. And the banks are going to support that, or the government's going to support that. So the way I see it, the big money, I'm talking about the millions and trillions, the M2 money supply, the Fed flow of money, the repo market, the big money. And that's all that matters, guys. If you get that cash flow, you're the dominant player. You get the lion's share. So think about this, guys. An average fintech company can't do that. How much could they do it? Are they worth $1 billion, $10 billion fintech company? That's a pretty big fintech company. For instance, Ripple's worth $15 billion. Well, let's say they create a collateral token. How much are they worth? How much percent can you use? And then when you compare it to JP Morgan, who does between I think $9 and $11 trillion a day in the flow of money, who's going to get that? It's going to be JP Morgan. So they're going to use the SEC to highly regulate and slow down the stablecoins, slow down everything that doesn't fit their narrative. Meanwhile, the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, the Blackrock, who all those have partnered, Bank of Mellon, Barclays, have all partnered together to create private blockchains built off Ethereum and private tokens and collateral tokens for the flow of money. Guys, and now they are already tokenizing assets. And I know I'm rambling, so bear with me. So anyway, that is the background. When I asked Claude, look, who is dominating tokenized assets right now? Who has the most momentum, the most adoption? Who's leading the charge? Well, let's hear what they said. Now stay with me because I have 3 projects that we can invest in. So this is not negative. This is just the big picture information. Well, here's what Claude said. He said, here's a deep dive into JP Morgan's new collateral-based settlement system. It is designed to use digital tokens on a private blockchain to settle transactions involving stocks, bonds, and financial institutions. They're already doing that. Not going to do it, they're already doing it. It allows the same-day transfer and settlement of tokenized securities and cash between parties, much faster than traditional settlement. Built on JP Morgan's in-house Onyx blockchain, which is based on Ethereum protocol. It leverages smart contracts to automate multiple party agreements and manage delivery versus payment. JPM coin issued on the network represents central currencies for transaction settlements. Hear me out. Collateral tokens represent pledged securities like equities, bonds, commodities held at custodians. Guys, we all know these huge custodian corporations are being created all around the world, like Copper. We hear about them every day because they're going to be the go-between between Wall Street and your bank. Now, the network participants can run their own node. They're required to do KYC, and then it says pilot projects launch with participation from Goldman Sachs and other major institutions, which are the ones I mentioned. It said could significantly increase automation and reduce settlement risk in markets. This all marks a major milestone in adoption of blockchain technology on Wall Street. In summary, JP Morgan is leveraging blockchain capabilities like tokenization, smart contracts, and instant settlement finality to improve antiquated collateral settlement processes in mainstream finance. Now, I then asked the question, who are some of the, what I asked, let's see, I said, is there a few what are the key advantages of JP Morgan using collateral tokens rather than stablecoins? And it basically mentioned that it allows larger transactions of value to be supported beyond just the fiat reserves. So think about it. It's going to allow the legacy banks, players like JP Morgan, to leverage their money, which you can't do in a stablecoin. For example, 1 billion stock collateral token could be transferred even if JP Morgan doesn't have 1 billion in custody. So think about it, guys. And I say this with love, but when you hear the nonsense of like the whole world's going to run on XRP rails or whatever your favorite project is, they're not going to be able to compete, guys. They're not going to be able to use leverage. And guys, when it comes to tokenized assets, if you send someone money or a deed or do a cross-border payment in the future, it's going to be a tokenized asset, and you'll send that token, which will be a smart contract that will need a ledger, and then it'll be implemented on the other side. But most of it's going to be done bank to bank, private. And you can say, well, this project's decentralized or it's cheaper. Let's talk about something, guys. I'm pretty advanced. I love the concept of decentralization. But let's think about it. If you were going to trade your house for someone else's house, and you could do that for pocket change or heck for free on some public rail, would you do it? You got a paid for house, you're going to trade for another paid for house. You're going to send $1 million for a paid for house. You can do it, let's say, free on a public blockchain. No, you're not going to do it. You'll send 10,000, maybe 1,000, $500. But the world wants a safety net. They want a third party. So here's what it's going to look like. You're going to go to JP Morgan. You're going to go to Bank of America, and you're going to say, hey, send my deed for this deed. Here's $1 million. Pay for this deed. Give me that token, right? Because when you hit that button, and it may even be automated, but it'll be on their rails, and it'll be secure, and it will be guaranteed. And if your token or your money doesn't show up, you're going to call your bank, and it's going to be insured, and they're going to fix it. That's what the future is going to look like, guys. So anyone that thinks that the flow of money is really going to be a lot different than today, it's not. Now, yes, it's going to be twice as fast, 10 times cheaper, and all of that, but it's still going to have the same players for the big money, guys, and that's all that matters. So the lion's share is going to go to SWIFT, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, those power players. They're not getting disrupted at all, guys. Their technology is just as advanced or more so. And guys, they already have the customers. They have the power, they have the money, they have the technology. Unfortunately, they have the SEC behind them. That's what the future looks like. Now, I could go on and on and on, but I want to talk about the 3 projects that I think are going to get their share, that are maybe the go-between between these power players. Because, guys, Wall Street and the legacy banks are going to dominate tokenized assets. But we can still get a piece of the pie, in my opinion. Now, check this out. Well, one other thing I want to mention to you is this. When I said, hey, outside of JP Morgan, who's dominating tokenized assets? Who are some of the other players? What have they got going on? Check out what Claude told me. And see, we're thinking of XRP, XLM, because, guys, that grows your crypto channel. That doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean they're the player. You know, we hear, Avalanche. No one's going to Visa or JP Morgan's website. They need to. But listen what Claude said when I asked Claude, who are some of the other power players that are dominating? I said among anyone. They could have said XRP, Ripple and XRP. They could have said XLM. They could have said any project. But listen what they said. Most of the existing major projects are built on private permission blockchains like JP Morgan, Onyx, R3 Corda, their private blockchain, not XDC. Finality, right? Guys, I didn't even know who Finality was. But then when I went there, guys, they've had a blockchain for like 5 years. They are dominating, working with banks to help them tokenize assets. Now, these don't require tradable cryptocurrency tokens to operate. I've been telling people, guys, the tokens are not going to be needed. 98% of all the projects out there are going to die, just like the 2000.com. Those companies just disappeared because they're not needed. Now, why I'm thinking about that, and I know I'm rambling, but hopefully, guys, this is a wealth of information. One developer made it extremely clear to me the other day when he was talking about Ethereum. A lot of people say, oh, it's slow, it's this, it's that, and smart money would use this because it's free or it's faster, it's better tech. Well, guys, here's what he said to me. So what? He goes, think about it. If you're going to try to spread a message around the world, there's pretty much only one place to go, and that's Twitter or X, right? Because that's where the people are. So if you have a message, whether, all the politicians are going to go there. Now, there's other avenues, but look, Rumble or all the other, maybe even better technology type companies out there that you could get the word out, but no one's on them. No one's using them. The reason projects are going to continue to be built on Ethereum is because they have the audience. They have the customers. And that's not going to change, guys, because they are, think about this. Ethereum's ecosystem, just its ecosystem, is larger than the next 10 layer ones ecosystems combined. And a bridge, guys, they're dangerous. No one wants to use a bridge if they don't have to. So if you can build inside of Ethereum's ecosystem, or definitely you need to be EVM compatible. That's the future, whether we like that or not. I know I'm rambling. But anyway, now it does say that some public blockchains have versions that are emerging. They're going to get their share, guys. I'm not saying that. The real good projects with real world utility like HBAR. But anyway, it says projects could build on a public chain like Ethereum, which would require Ethereum for gas. We see that, guys, right now, bar none. The bulk of everything that has a tokenized asset is either built on Ethereum or a clone of Ethereum so that it's safe and secure. Now, tokenized securities could leverage public DLTs and issue collateral tokens on top. That's a narrative that's going to happen. But it's not going to get the lion's share. They're just going to get maybe their share. And then it says, using a public blockchain could enable more open access and transparency in some cases. But so far, most collateral token settlement initiatives leverage private chains between known parties. Anyway, guys, let's get into the three projects that I like. Now, check this out, guys. I asked it about Axelar because Axelar caught my attention when I was looking at how many projects can make money on their own. Because right now, guys, the bulk of most projects, if that token went away, the project would die immediately. Like if the fund that funds it or the founders or whatever couldn't keep increasing the supply, the projects would die. Axelar can already support itself in its ecosystem. That is impressive. Now, check this out, guys. When you have tokenized assets, they're going to be on private blockchains, but they are also going to be on public blockchains. Hopefully I didn't get that confuse you on that. But the bulk of it's going to be on private blockchains. But Axelar has a cross-chain collateralization function that you can use to transfer tokenized assets pretty much anywhere that is EVM compatible. And guys, that is powerful. It is a very, very good platform, and it's caught my attention. Now, let me see this. Bear with me. So I asked it, could it be used to transfer real-world assets, and it gave me a list of things that it could do. Check this out. Tokenized securities like bonds and equities issued on one blockchain could be bridged to DeFi protocols on other chains via Axelar to unlock new cases. Things like invoices, purchase orders, property deeds, tokenized via NFTs could be ported to different chains that need access through Axelar. Axelar's generalized message passing could relay data like ratings, compliance, legal documents for tokenized real-world assets across chains. Tokenized collateral held on one chain could be moved from another chain as collateral for lending or derivatives based on Axelar bridges. Provenance tracking and tokenized real-world assets could leverage Axelar's cross-chain capabilities. So you're definitely, well, anyway, it says this could enable new finance use cases and marketplace utilizing those assets across isolated chains. The cross-chain connectivity helps unlock value. So guys, I highly recommend go to Axelar's network, which is .network. That's their website. Surf around. It says Axelar launches interchain token service. Now check this out, guys. What's going to move all those tokenized assets around is their new platform. And hold on, I got it right here. Bear with me. Yeah, it's called the Interchain Token Service, and they use Sushi Swap. So guys, here are my 3 tokens that I think everyone should have on their radar. Now, I didn't talk about this much, but LINK, guys, no ifs and buts about it. LINK is the dominant player when it comes to pretty much any banking token, any ISO token, any tokenized assets. It is the dominant token with the most adoption, most partnerships. It's not even close. They are the only real blockchain that has a partnership. They're the only blockchain that has a real partnership direct with Swift. With their CCIP, they're allowing Swift to tokenize everything and use a ledger. No blockchain rails needed. Now they're going to use blockchain rails, but guys, I'm telling you, LINK has allowed Swift to go to the front of the flow of money and tokenized assets. Not even open for debate. No one is going to overthrow Swift, at least in the next, say, 25 years. So, guys, all that connectivity, no matter how it plays out for, let's just say, the next 10 years, there could be some new technology come out. But as it sits right now, guys, when everything's tokenized, whether it's on public to private, private to private, public to private, it doesn't matter. Bank to bank, bank to public, whatever, they're going to need LINK. LINK is that gateway. They are dominating. Now, there might be substitutes, but right now they have by far the largest market share, and it's growing every day because they're coming out with different protocols. So definitely, guys, if you don't own LINK, you need to take a long, hard look at it. Whether it's considered a conservative play or not, I really don't know. Because one thing that bothers me is how LINK can get so much positive information, positive news almost every day, guys. More adoption, more partnerships, and it's not leading this bear market. That is concerning, but I think it's going to catch up with itself, and I have no doubt it's going to take out its old high. I find it virtually impossible. All right, that being said, Axelar, guys, that's a no-brainer. Go take a look. Now, also, I like the fact that it was launched at the end of the last bull run. Pretty much the bull run was over for about 90% of the projects. So you could argue the point that they haven't experienced a bull run yet. So that being said, this thing could absolutely take off. Now, something else I love, guys, and this is important, and people don't ever mention it, or I don't see it, but guys, look at this. Look at the commits and the contributions. See that, guys? That is a full plate. That means developers every single day are working hard building out that ecosystem, building out that platform, making changes, hitting their roadmap. That's extremely positive. And when you see that, guys, the closest thing to a guarantee is that all this hard work from these developers and all this new adoption, it's going to show itself in the bull run, in the price. You can't tell me they're building like they are with all this new adoption and they are not going to pump pretty significantly. I really believe that. Now, Sushi Swap is part of their ecosystem now, that you're going to be able to swap all these tokenized assets. And guys, to me, this is a no-brainer, because if tokenized assets take off, Axelar is going to be a big player inside of the Ethereum ecosystem. And this is just my thought process for whatever this is worth. But if you remember Sushi Swap and Cake, right? They exploded in 2021. Well, Sushi Swap could get a lot of adoption for tokenized assets and absolutely explode. And right now, if you look at the price, guys, it has been beaten down. It's at right at 50 cents, and the all-time high is $22. Guys, that is a good risk reward if it makes a new high. Now, it's been around since 2020, but it made a new high in 2021. It stayed pretty strong until the middle of last year. But guys, I'm telling you, these three projects are three projects that should be on your radar, in my opinion. That being said, guys, Avalanche, Ethereum, no ifs, ands, buts about it, Cosmos, Osmosis, and HBAR are some other projects that are going to do well with tokenized assets because they are already in the game. The only reason, in my opinion, that HBAR is not dominating tokenized assets is because they don't have an avenue to trade those tokenized assets on Ethereum. That being said, with a lot of their adoption is through enterprise, and they're not trading those tokenized assets all over the globe. They're more private inside that corporation. They're tokenizing different things like payments as an invoice, so that invoice can stay inside the system. It doesn't need to be EVM compatible. So I think HBAR has a big future with tokenized assets. You have the Guardian platform, who is dominating like climate and ESG type tokenization, and then you have the Toko platform. So guys, anyway, I know I'm rambling on. Take a look at those three projects, but I hope you heard me when I say that, like the ISO tokens and the banking tokens and pretty much any crypto project, guys, the odds are it's being dominated, that no one's talking about, by a legacy bank, by a government, or by Wall Street firms. No matter whether it's DeFi, the metaverse, or whatever, guys, corporate America is taking over crypto, Web3, and the future of blockchain. And if you just do your own research, which I highly recommend, and look at all the competitors. Don't just look at the new projects that we all know and love, because that just like Coinbase is dominating layer 2 right now, right? Went straight to the top, and you could argue which one's better, but it has grabbed a huge amount of market share. No token needed. And you're going to see that with CBDCs. Guys, CBDCs are dominated by major corporations like Consensus that are building CBDCs every day. No token needed. R3/4, no token needed. When I say token needed, I'm talking about no token that we can purchase. So anyway, guys, follow the money, follow the adoption, and follow all the players. It will serve you well, and it will allow you to make better decisions of, should I hold this project for 10 years? The odds are no, it's not going to be around, because corporate America is taking over everything. I don't like saying that, but I see it every single day. So be careful when people tell you what these blockchains are going to do, right? Who's doing it now? When you do your research, guys, I highly recommend whoever you listen to, hopefully they're going to tell you what the competition is doing. Because if you say, hey, this blockchain is the best, or this one is dominating CBDCs, well, okay, what about those 10 major corporations that work directly with banks and have their own private blockchain? What are they doing? Anyway, guys, no matter what, the odds are they're using Link. So let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. That's all I got for you. I know I rambled on. This was a lot of information, and sometimes it's hard to just get it out. But hopefully, if you heard me out, it's going to make you see things a little different, because this space is absolutely changing every day. All right, guys, that's all I got. Hit that like button, and no matter what, come back and be part of this community. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Take care.